it's interesting now when I spoke to some of the candidates over the days about how they're positioning themselves now, and I did raise the running mate possibility with Ben Carson, as well as with Chris Christie when I caught up with him at one of his rallies, and in Christie's case, whether being an effective attack dog for the ticket, and he was certainly that, would be something he'd consider. He didn't entirely poo-poo it. Ben Carson separately saying that if you were the nominee, yeah, he could see himself at best being your running mate. What do you think of that? Both gentlemen clearly
well, I like
not
both,
closing that out.
I like Ben Carson also. I like him a lot. I think he's a terrific guy. And that was not his fault the other night at the debate. You couldn't hear anything. You couldn't hear the announcers, you know, when he was stuck backstage. You couldn't. It was not a very auspicious opening. But, you know, everybody was
I
back
noticed
there.
You stood with him. You stood with him.
No, because I did. Because I saw he was, you know, he just wasn't able to hear. He didn't do anything wrong. He took a lot of beat, and he did nothing wrong. But you couldn't hear a word.
No.
And I was able to somehow get involved and figure it out. But it was not Ben's fault. You could not hear anything.
No, you remember everything. You heard everything perfectly well at the Fox Business debates. That was so weird.
Yes, you did. Honestly, you did. That's true.
Yeah, it was
100%.
ridiculous. Yeah. Let me ask you a little bit about the running mate, if you don't mind my indulging in that. Do you look at certain types of people? If you were to be the nominee, and I know it's early, you remind me of that, but do you look at certain types, governor, senator, or do you look at those who would offset the fact that they're this outside-the-box kind of with someone who's kind of inside the box, or what?
Well, I would think, and I'm not even, you know, I'm discussing it with you because you're asking to discuss it, because, number one, I want to win, and after I win, I can think about this, because there are some really, really good people that we know. I would think that because of the fact that while I'm very political, I'm not a politician, I would want to choose a politician. I'm businessman.
What about Ted Cruz? Would you consider him?
Well, he's a smart guy. He's certainly a smart guy, but, you know, I don't want to get into that now, Neil, because I just don't want to be talking about it now. But I would say that it would be better for me to choose somebody that's very political, that can help us out politically, because I've got a lot of other qualities, and I'm very political also. But so I don't think we need two guys like me.
Okay, so you need someone who is steeped in
I think
office.
In my case, I think in my case, I'm better with a very political person. So I think I would keep it that way.
All right, real quickly, this video that came out from Iran today showing these sailors, remember the ones who were captured a couple of weeks back, some of them crying.
That's
what do you make of that?
I think it's disgusting. I think they're disgusting. I think Secretary Kerry should be ashamed of himself for making that deal. Absolutely ashamed. And we wouldn't even have them back now if they weren't getting the $150 billion 2 days later. You know, they released them after humiliating our country and these 10 young people. They released them only because they wanted to get their $150 billion. And I didn't hear about this tape that you said just came out with them crying. Yeah. But I heard the guy talking, and I heard the voice of that animal that was talking to these young men and the one woman. And I think it's disgraceful. When I heard his voice, I said, that is not a nice, friendly sound. That's a rough cookie. I'll tell you what, how Kerry and Obama allowed that deal to go through. It's one of the worst deals I've ever seen. Not just like between nations. It's one of the worst deals it's one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. And on top of that, they humiliate us. And then you ask, why is Trump number one? That's part of the reason right there. Because the people and the voters are tired of stupid, incompetent people representing the United States.
Donald, when I talk to young people about you, and you had a lot of young voters coming to your support here, showing up in a blizzard the other night at a large convention round, I remember that. They only seem to know, obviously you're very in your face, you're very clear positions, but they see you through the prism of The Apprentice or the Miss Universe pageant. They don't seem to know or remember, as I do, going back to years, maybe showing my age, a real estate mogul, casino mogul, a guy who built an empire. Do you have to get that out there? Is the sense that the media is trying to typecast you, that you're this celebrity candidate, when in fact, you know, you've done much more than that. All of that came much much later. Do you feel compelled to address that, to remind folks of that?
Well, a lot of people know, and I built a great company, and if you saw that when I did my filings, my FEC filings, everyone was amazed how big, how little debt, the tremendous cash flow. You know, I built a great company, but in a way, I'm okay with it. It's like whatever it takes. You know, I'm getting a lot of votes, so we're getting a lot of support. Tonight, I'm going to South Carolina. We'll have at least 10,000 people there. I think much more than that, and we set it up 3 or 4 days ago, and we're going to have a crowd of more than 10,000 people. And it's fine. I think most people know, but it's not a bad thing to get out there. We have great projects all over the world, actually. We're worldwide, and I deal with leaders from all over the world because of it. And, we do very well. We do very well.
Well, as you know, we've already seen Michael Bloomberg is considering a run,
right,
tweeting out more pictures of himself with world leaders like Cameron, British Prime Minister Cameron, others I'm sure to follow. But he seems to be itching to make the move and commit the move. You said you welcome him. He's a friend. But do you fear that you fellow billionaires could divide that vote? What do you think?
No, I hope he runs. I mean, I'd love to compete against Michael Bloomberg. I hope he runs. And if he runs, it's not going to be easy for him, that I can tell you.
Who do you think he takes votes more away, Tom?
I think he might hurt the Democrats more. He wants to take everybody's gun away. He's totally pro-choice. He's got a lot of things that really form right into the Democrat line. I mean, I would love to see Michael run, but I think it's not going to be very easy for him, to be honest with you.
Donald Trump, congratulations again. Polls look good in South Carolina, some of these southern states. You've got, I think your people have set a pretty good ground game there.
We have a good ground game. We proved that this weekend. I mean, we had the best ground game of anybody. And, we won by numbers that were even higher than the polls. The polls were saying 32, and we won by 36. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So we have a good ground game. We have a great team.
Yeah, they're certainly jazzed. They're certainly passionate. Donald Trump, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Neil. You take care of yourself.
All right, be well.